Welcome to the History Veteran UK. God, pretty much does what it says on the tin, excuse me. So, for those of you that have seen my videos before, and for those of you that haven't, I cover a lot of World War One stuff, World War Two, and a little bit of stuff that's a bit later on as well. But it all evolves around the military. And I've been interested in World War One for, well, as long as I can remember, really. I started doing battlefield tours years and years back, and I'd been interested in it before then, and became even more so after I started. And I've always thought even that World War One was, I mean, there's many descriptions, you know, by various authors, A.J.B. Taylor and many others that have written accounts of World War One, why it started, what they thought of it, and could talk to you about it more eloquently than myself, let's say. But as I said, I always thought it was it was a futile war, and there can be no better description than that, than a cemetery at it's just southeast of Mons called San Symphorian. Now, I've been there many times, and I've done a few battlefield tours around Mons itself. So on the 23rd of August 1914, the first actions with the German army took place. There'd been some light skirmishes before, but this was pretty much the main offensive of the German army to cross the Mons-Conde Canal. And the British didn't get back there until almost the end of the war. Now, once the Germans, and I'll come back to some actions that took part on the canal, but once the Germans had taken that, for their dead and the British dead, they created a cemetery at San Symphorian, and and I've just got the numbers written down here, actually. So there are 284 German burials, 229 Commonwealth, which most are British and Canadian and Irish, and 105 of them are unknown. So they had control of that cemetery throughout the war, and I'm going to put a picture up, actually, of when they inaugurated the cemetery. I think it was 1917, and it just shows, I think, how the Germans looked at their dead as well. Later on, I mean, now I don't think they pay much attention at all, but you know, the history is written by the victors, isn't it? So when the Germans approached the Mons Canal on the 23rd of August, the 4th Battalion and Middlesex Regiment were around the Oberg Bridge area. And in fact, if you go there today, there's a footbridge, and just below the footbridge is a memorial to the 4th Battalion. And they attacked the bridge, and the 4th Battalion saw off a cavalry charge by some well-disciplined and defiant defence by the 4th Battalion. A lot of them were volunteers and had only just arrived in France a few weeks before. But nevertheless, you know, it was pure numbers that pushed the Middlesex back. And in fact, all along the Mons Canal, the 2nd Corps, the BEF, were pushed back. But there were some individual actions along that canal that I just want to bring a little bit of reference to. and one of those was by an officer, Lieutenant Morris Dease. Couldn't think of his first name. Lieutenant Morris Dease, who was in command of a machine gun platoon, and one of the positions he held, despite being wounded and all of his machine gunners eventually being killed on one location, and himself succumbing to his wounds, he was awarded the first posthumous Victoria Cross of the war. And you can find out much more about Morris Dease if you wish, that is. But the reason that San Symphorian is, to me, shows the futility of the First World War, was that prior to the 23rd of August, there'd been some reconnaissance put out by the 4th Battalion, the Middlesex Regiment, and a Private John Parr, who was on his memorial, or to the army, he was 20 years old. In fact, he was only 17 years old, which was found out after. And there are various accounts of what actually happened to him, but whatever those accounts were, he was killed. And he is most likely the first British soldier killed during the First World War. And he was buried at San Symphorian. But I think his body fell somewhere else and the Germans moved him there. Regardless, that's where he's buried. Recently, I think 100 years after his, 2014, there was, 2014, there was a memorial outside his home address. So he's buried at San Symphorian. 4 years later, 1918, 10 million deaths, almost 1 million British and Commonwealth men killed. The war comes to an end, and the armistice is signed, and the guns fall silent, as we know, on the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month. 90 minutes before that happened, Private George Ellison of the Royal Irish Lancers was killed, and he is recognised as the last British soldier to be killed during World War I. He is also buried at San Symphorian Cemetery. That not being enough, the last recognised Empire soldier killed was a Private George Price. I think it's George, I'm pretty certain it's Private George Price, of the 28th Battalion, the Canadian Infantry, was shot by a German sniper in Mons. Some nurses went out to give him first aid, but he died at 10:58 a.m. on the morning of the 11th of November, 2 minutes before the armistice. And he is also buried at San Symphorian Cemetery. So despite all those numbers, whatever numbers you give for the First World War, it was a tragic event, started by various things. I mean, I think AJB Taylor references the railway stations and the length of the platforms and, and other things, and the killing of Franz Ferdinand in Bosnia, in Sarajevo. Whatever it was, the first and last men killed are buried no more than 100 yards apart. And, like I say, the futility of war. And I just thought I wanted to bring you that, because I'm going to move on a little bit further. I'm going out to some sites when this weather stops. The reason I'm in the shed today, the weather is awful. I don't know if the camera will pick up the the wind outside, but it's atrocious. So that's what I'm hoping to do. And I hope you enjoy that story. I've been there a few times. It's a beautiful cemetery. If you ever get the opportunity to go out there, I highly recommend going there. And if you do, it's nice going on your own, but try and get a guide. You know, go on a guided tour, because you get a little bit more of the detail. I still go on guided tours now. Well, I haven't been on any for a while, but you know, all the time you learn and learn. Anyway, so that's the story of San Symphorian and the first and last soldiers. If you're enjoying my videos, please like and subscribe. It will help me grow the channel, and hopefully, you know, get out a bit more into Belgium and France. I'd love to bring some stuff from over there. But until the next time, thank you.